Community Conversations is a space that fosters conversation around topics important to us, with the purpose of creating an educational opportunity to teach, learn, work, and grow together. With your host, Ina.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Community Conversation. A space where we share our insights and grow and learn together in our SPNH community. We will continue on the path where 2023 have started for us, which is conversations around health. We started on mental health. Last episode was on working out and trainings and physical health. And today we're having an even wider conversation around health and well-being. A conversation I have personally looking forward to so much, kind of my specialty and what I live for. Today's conversation is going to revolve a lot around holistic health. You might wonder, what even is holistic health? We're going to get into that, and I'm hoping also to get into a lot of Western versus Eastern ways of thinking around health, and I don't know if you have heard about psychologist called whose name is Maslow, I think. He is mostly known for developing a thing called hierarchy of needs, like a pyramid or step type of thing, which explains a lot about health. So first step is your physiological needs, like food, air, water. Like, what do my body need to survive? Sleep is also on that very basic level. Next, he talks about safety needs, which revolves around stability and security, routines. I'm thinking also shelter, like having a roof over your head, and yeah, feelings of security. The next step is your social needs, like family, friends, relationships, also love relationships. So yeah, from a heart space, and being in community with other people. After that, he talks about an esteem level, talking about appreciation and what do I have to bring out into this world? How do I feel about myself? Self-respect, self-esteem. What do I voice into this world? Highest on these steps, on this pyramid, or whatever image you wanna you wanna bring, is self-actualization. And in that he talks about being how can you be the best you can be? How can I bring in all these resources I have and develop? And this is a continuous process. Thoughts about that?
First of all, just in general, I love psychology. I think the human brain and human strains of thought. Did I speak very good English there? I don't know. Human strains of thought. I don't know. But I think the human brain and our human levels of thinking are so interesting. And I just want to say that very generally. Theory aside, I think just psychology and breaking down the brain is super cool and super interesting. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say for now, believe it or not. But
Diva, do you have?
I just had a memory of me studying this in 2004, I think. That is why when I studied psychology, yeah, that seems about right. What people need.
Yeah.
People know, and for myself, to know, no questions there.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking it's very hard to realize your dreams and ambition and and climbing up some sort of work ladder if you don't have enough money to buy food. If your physical body is not nourished with food and water, your lungs is not filled with air, light, then it's very hard to actualize your dreams and have dreams for the future. And so that's
can I actually ask, so I in terms of the actual pyramid, so you've got physiological needs at the bottom and self-actualization at the top. Is the order meant to be like least important to most important, or most important to least important, or they just collectively work together, or what is the sense of, or why is the sense of order, or how is the sense of order, if that makes sense?
All the pictures I've seen is that the physiological needs are at the bottom.
Yeah.
And it's like the first level.
Okay.
Because that if you don't have air, you're dead.
Right.
Basically.
Yes.
Yeah. And
that's the minimum for a person to survive.
Yeah. And also, if we go with a house analogy, if you don't have a good, strong foundation, then it doesn't matter what paint you put on your house, because at the first gust of wind, your house is going to break.
Totally. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. Cool.
I don't necessarily agree. I don't know who said that, but I don't necessarily agree that well, there are a lot of people that are not the process of getting food might be someone's self-actualization.
Yeah.
That is where they are.
Yeah.
This is the best thing ever. Does it get any better than this?
Yeah.
Or having a place to live, or getting a job, having some sort of community where you feel like you belong. That might be actually. Why is this one so hard today? My God.
I know. I'm happy I'm not the only one.
I'm in awe.
I know what we do. Every time I mention that word, I'm going to point at Danny because he's English, because he's an English speaker, and he's going to say it for me.
No, I'm going to say that word in Swedish.
I hope you know what I mean.
No, I'm just personally, sorry, a little sidestep for a sec. I'm constantly in awe how much better you both say these words than I do. And I am the English speaking person in our room. English is my first language, and you both say the word better than I do most days.
You're too kind.
You, Diva, can I just riff on what you just said there for a second, and just even really agree. I get very interested by how and why somebody's experience and perspective in their life, community, world influences like how they perceive self-actualization. And yeah, like simply getting food is, that is like the peak of self-actualization versus, I don't know about you guys, but for me, getting food is just like
Eh,
safety and security, or even physiological needs. Like that's like my baseline. Like it's never, getting food has never been something I've thought about. And so yeah, I think that is super interesting, just how like geography can determine that, your relationships, your personal experience, how you've been treated in the past can determine how you perceive the hierarchy of needs.
yeah. Mhm.
Which
Yeah.
is,
I remember a time where I was in a situation for quite a while where I had to choose to buy food for myself or pay rent.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Um,
That's a very tough, tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
um,
So based on those two things, I'm self-actualized
yeah,
times 10.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and your ground level has stepped up a bit.
Yeah.
mm,
It's not shaky. I can't really think of any area where that is shaky
yeah,
at the moment,
Mm.
yeah,
which if I think back, um, it's quite surreal
mm,
that I was here and now I'm here.
mm,
Now, there's this, there's, there are, I know you've seen these quotes, you should never look back, but I do that quite often
mm,
and just sit there in awe
yeah, yeah,
and
Definitely.
appreciate
yeah,
how far I've come.
mm-hmm,
To some people, that might not be a big thing,
yeah,
but to me, it's huge.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and that and that is a very valid point. Also, to try. I I know it's really hard. I mean that we all most of the time spend our spend our time, days comparing to each other. But what's most important, and what you can have control over, is yourself. And nobody knows better than you how your life has been, and what you want to achieve going forward.
Yeah.
So this comparison, and does it really take us anywhere?
I think it does. In a way, if I look up to someone, if they have a certain skill, I can learn from them, which means to come to that realization, I need to compare myself. I need to compare my lack of skill to their having that skill. Like that is a good comparison.
Yeah.
And then try to figure out, how can I get better, and have them as an example. Like, I want to be, I don't know, a better piano player, who plays piano really good. How did they learn?
When you find the person, tell me.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
No, but that comparison is useful.
Yeah.
Comparing yourself to people in a way that harms you or harms that other person is very constructive.
Yeah.
I have a lot of examples of people comparing themselves to me, which is, I really feel sad for them every single time. I just feel sad.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is a difference comparing yourself, speaking of these higher steps, like self actualizations and dreams, and comparing each other or ourselves based on our physiological needs or steps, because on these more basic levels, then these comparisons starts to be kind of shaky and not really getting you somewhere. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
An example.
The very for people saying saying stuff like, "Oh, I'm so sad for you for being in a wheelchair, not able to use your legs or go running or play soccer or climb whatever."
Walking on the beach, feeling the sand between your toes.
Yes, that comparison is like not very constructive. But if you look at like being better at playing piano, as you spoke about, Diva, then that is a skill.
Yeah.
And self-actualization that is within the reach for anyone.
Yeah. Sorry, could I just I haven't said anything in a minute. So let me just riff on what you just said there, Ina, because I loved it, and I've been, I think the almost the entire time I've been looking at the hierarchy here, and really focused on self-esteem, because like say somebody is focused on all these things that because you're in a wheelchair you'll never do, that you've never known, that I can't imagine that's very good for somebody's self-esteem, in maybe constantly being told all the things they'll never experience, they'll never know, versus again creating the tangible, what are you good at, what excites you, what really, what can you do. And this comes back to some of the age-old conversations that we've been having through community conversations, but like creating conversations where we build self-esteem up versus tear it down, and make it harder to get to actual self-actualization. And it made me, as you were providing that example, it just made me think of that, because I know I've definitely been guilty before. I'm writing a song about it right now called Good Intentions, around the idea of, say, seeing all the potential in people, but needing to learn how to meet people where they're at, because they might not have the self-esteem that I'm meeting them with, or there just might be things out of place, and I'm projecting all these things that I think I know, when I need to take a step back and ask better questions. Don't project what I think I know as much. Take a minute to not be as loud, and all those things. And it just makes me think again. I think I'm like hyper focused on self-esteem because I think it's such a big one. Not to say that others aren't, but I don't know. I tend to gravitate to that self-esteem a lot, I guess.
And self-esteem is built.
Yeah.
So something you build over time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is really hard to do if you've been someone. I mean, all of us met those adolescents or adults where they were bullied and haven't been feeling very good about themselves, haven't learned their own self-value.
Yeah.
Haven't learned what they are good at.
Yeah.
Haven't learned the skill to discover what they are good at, and not even want to try because they don't know if they can, they don't know how, they don't know if they should. That is built over time if you have the right support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a perfect segue to something that came to mind in preparing for this conversation, which is from the start of all of our lives, our parents being told when they expect us, really before we're even born, we have this label on us, which comes with sometimes a huge list of this you cannot do, and this will be hard, and blah 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 blah, all this. And being a body therapist myself, working with this and within this holistic way of thinking, which is considering both your physical body but also your emotions and thoughts and spirit. And I got to thinking, what does it do to a person that from day one is being told, you cannot do this, you will have a hard time doing this, and look out when you do this, or gravitate more towards that. I mean, what does that do to a person? What feelings does that bring? What thoughts do that bring into a person? Yeah.
Sorry, can I dive in there just quickly, because this is to your point and question, but it's also going back to the idea of like looking back into the past, reflecting on how far you've come, and it's so interesting as somebody I for a long time, for as long as I can remember, I've been passionate about human development and human growth, inside of myself primarily, just always trying to be better in some way. And it's so interesting because when I was younger, there were things like organization. I was terrible at organization. And like some of those skills did not come easy. and have not come easy from past to present. Some of those skills were just not ingrained in me. And I began to realize that, Danny, you're a big dreamer. With big dreams come a couple of options. You either have to find the people that are good at those things and like you guys, and make them your team members, or become better at them. And you should probably do both. Try and be better at them while also align yourself with people that are inherently just better at some of those things than you are, because that makes a great team. But then it's interesting because as, looking back and then forward, and like knowing that I can look back and go, Danny from even like 3 or 4 years ago has come a long way in some of those things, which makes it's so interesting and like makes me more sensitive, I think, when somebody hits me with like, oh, didn't we have a meeting? And I'm like, no, it would be in my calendar. And it because like, again, 4 years ago, I might have just not written it down. Whereas today it's like, oh shoot, did I seriously not write that down? And then I start to like in my brain go, Danny, you're better than that, man. Because you start to remember what old Danny was like. And it's like, shoot, like, and I get more sensitive and harder on myself because of it. And it's like, yo, Danny, you have grown. Don't compare to 4 years ago. You have grown. You are Danny 2.0. Don't worry. Stuff still happens. Even though you've grown, stuff still happens. Don't let this be like an attack on your self-esteem. You're only human.
Definitely.
Relax.
Oh.
Relax. But that's also a little bit of the kind of person I am. It's like, if something goes wrong, the sky is falling. And it's like, it's okay, Danny. It's okay.
You're doing the best you can.
Just breathe. Just, lean into that physiological need and just breathe.
It's going to be okay. And and nothing is constant.
Yeah.
Life is not constant. The day is not constant. Seasons, everything changes all the time. Life goes up and then goes down and then up again, and you learn.
Yeah.
Eva?
And I recognize that what you just said, Danny, so well, because if you had an issue that needed to be solved and you worked so hard to solve it and to get better at a skill, it becomes a huge thing when you make an oopsie, because like, doing something like once or twice or sometimes even 15 times might be just an oopsie. It depends on what it is and who it affects and how much it affects your life. But yeah, I do that too a lot. Especially when something was really boring to get through.
Right.
And I pushed it and I got better, and I think it's still boring, but I do it because it's good. It has a good outcome. So when it doesn't go so well, like, oh fuck, not again. Diva, we talked about this.
We discussed this.
We We had a meeting. Myself and I.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just gonna say as well through the lens of like, looking at this hierarchy of needs and how it's so relevant personally, but how it can also be like a great team builder. In a team builder and tool to better collaboration, to being able to recognize these things in ourselves and each other, and use it as some sort of like baseline to get back to when and if there's an oopsie. It's kind of cool. It's kind of really cool. Kind of really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Do you guys ever think about these connections, body, mind, spirits, emotions, how it can affect each other, and something physically hurting might mean there's something physical to take care of. Absolutely, but it can also mean something has been pushed down, emotional wise, mental, spiritually.
Yeah.
You have any thoughts, examples around that?
Oh, yes. How long do we have?
We have time. Share, please
All
share.
the time.
Well, there was a time in my life where I couldn't get out of bed because I was so physically hurt. It was a long time ago. And not that I didn't have physical problems, but most of those problems, it turned out was because of my repressed emotions. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
That was a bit to realize.
And could you see the shift in your physical pain when you realize?
Yeah. Which kind of sucked because at the time I was beating myself up like, this is so easy. Why did you've been in pain for this amount of time and you can figure this out, you stupid cow. Which isn't constructive, but that is what I thought. Like, of course. Hello. But yeah, as soon as I started expressing my emotions and to the people that I needed to express my emotions to, and actually daring to feel and express, things started to get better, and I started training. I started eating better. I started definitely sleeping better without any help. I had pills for being able to sleep for a very long time. This was like 10 years ago now. yeah, things just got a lot better. But that is still something that I need to think about, that it, not as much that I repress my emotions, because no, I can't say that I do. You two know me, and we talk a lot. So I don't think you would say that I do, because I'm very expressive when we talk. But I still have this thought sometimes that pops up, like, have you, why is your shoulder hurting? Have you been not, have you been repressing something? Like that, as soon as my body hurts, that's the first thing that comes into my mind. Are we not doing something we are supposed to be doing, emotionally wise or physically? Or have you been training? Have you been sleeping? Have you been eating? Have you been talking to people? Have you been doing everything on this huge list that might pop up sometimes?
Yeah, it's both a gift and a curse.
Yeah,
Working on yourself and growing and realizing and feeling the truth of knowing there's something else outside of myself
mhm,
that I can't physically see or touch or
yeah,
hear.
yeah,
I know there is something.
yeah. And it was also quite interesting to, regarding the parts of my body that I can't feel, like my feet, how much, although I can't feel them, they still exist. And things can get stuck there as well. So when I had my first foot massage, which was by Ina many years ago now, with tactile massage, which it is impressing. It's just touching. I started to cry, although I couldn't feel what she was doing. It affected me tremendously.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. It's it's
That's cool.
amazing. Thank you for sharing, Eva.
Thank you for helping me.
Oh,
So good. So good.
yeah. Danny, you have anything?
I don't know if I have anything to add, quite honestly. I don't I don't I don't I'm sure if I talked long enough I would add something, but um I don't know if I have anything to add. I mean um I think it's okay, so maybe I'm lying. Um um I think I think there's still things. I mean, we're all still going through things, but I think in personally, professionally, There's all kinds of holistic things that I'm trying to work through from like, mentally. I know I feel great when I go to the gym and work out. But I'm trying to personally figure out how to get excited about doing that, because I just like I I just don't. I know it makes me feel great. I know that. Why is there this disconnect between how I know it makes me feel, but actually putting in the work? Like, why is there that disconnect? Professionally, we're continuing to grow and evolve, and we're starting to have our own positions and things like this, and these holistic mental thoughts creep in of like, Danny, what makes you able to be like the director of this thing moving forward? Like, what what makes you think you have the skills to do that? Because there's so many things that you individually haven't figured out yet. As a collective, you haven't figured out, like, what makes you so sure. And so, like, there's still those things that creep in all the time.
Yeah, but you have the skill that is, you have a lot of ideas that just pop, and 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 that is needed. Absolutely. Because without all of your ideas popping out in your head, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be sitting here having these deep conversations around all aspects of life. Which I could sit here for like a day or this whole weekend talking about.
Yeah.
This holistic approach to life and our being, but that would be people, I think, would be getting bored.
How dare they? How dare they? How dare they get bored?
Let me just say, Danny has the ideas, and we're the ones that are organizing.
That's right.
Putting boxes.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Taking your ideas and going, okay, how can we frame this?
Yeah. 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 100%. And I don't think it would work without that balance. I think that's like any team, like any vision, like any movement. I think it takes different skills, different humans with different perspectives, with perspectives that we can learn from each other through, to ultimately and hopefully in the most holistic way even meet as many people where they're at as possible.
Yes, because we all have different qualities and different skill sets, and we live in live in different parts of the world that makes everyday life look different. But that is, I think, our huge strength, and which I hope will continue to grow, which I hope will make people watching feel a little bit more confident in reaching out to us, being a part of this conversation, whether or not you wanna show your face, making your voice heard in these community conversations, or being a part of the Push Project podcast, and any other projects and ideas, live stream that we have. That's and right. All things coming ahead.
That's right. Yeah.
Reach out to us. We wanna hear your story. We want you to be a part of our team, of our community of amazing humans that has a lot of skill sets. And I mean, only the Push Project podcast shows that. I mean, we're now up to, I think, 70 or closing in on 70 episodes, which is 70 human beings within our SPNH community that has shown that there's a lot of skills and opinions and voices to be heard, and let's never ever keep quiet and continue to grow and learn from each other and keep the conversations going.
I guess.
Yep.
Well said. Mic drop moment. Mic drop moment.
Will 1 hour goes by so fast sometimes. So I will leave you all with saying, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do. Then you will get a notification every time we release another community conversation here on YouTube. You will find us, A Song and City, over on most of social media platforms. On Spotify, you can find Push Project podcasts. Reach out via email.
That's right.
Yeah.
The links are in the bio.
That's right.
Links are in the bio.
That's right.
Yeah.
Great job, team.
Yeah. With that said, thank you for today. Looking forward to our next community conversation. Bye.